Right now, Lord, to say thank you. Lord God, we just thank you for not allowing us to get in the way of what you have in store for us. Father God, we just thank you for allowing us to let go and let you have your way. Father, as we prepare to study your word, Lord God, we just ask that you would open our hearts, open our minds, allow us to be receptive of your word. Lord God, but do not just let us be hearers, but be doers also. Father God, I pray right now that I would decrease so that you would increase. Lord, allow your spirit to enter this place in this moment so that someone would hear your word. It's in Jesus' name that we pray and ask these things. Amen. Well, good morning, church. I'm so glad and grateful to be here before you all again today. When I get these opportunities, it truly is a blessing just to be able to study God's word and then proclaim it to his people. And so today, as we reflect on the Easter season and holiday, I want to remind us that it's important to continue to look at the resurrection and to continue to pay attention to why it's so important that Jesus Christ shed his blood on Calvary. And so we're going to take a look at Romans. And the title of this sermon is Why Christ's Blood Matters Every Day, not just on Easter Sunday. And so I'm going to look at what took place before we get into Romans chapter 6, verses 1 through 14, which is where I'll be coming from this morning. I want to kind of give you a recap, kind of take a look at what's been taking place in Rome up to this point. So the Apostle Paul is writing to the Christian churches of Rome as he's on his third missionary. And so he's been making his way across the Roman Empire, and the theme of the entire book of Romans is that it's the revelation of God's judgment and the saving righteousness of the gospel of Jesus Christ. God judges sin, and yet at the same time, he manifests his saving mercy. And as we think about how powerful that is, no matter where we are in our lives, God still grants us his mercy. And so in chapter 1 of the book of Romans, we see that Paul is giving his salutation or his greeting to the Jews and the Gentiles. He's also giving them an overview of what is to come throughout the book of Romans. In chapter 2, then, Paul begins to move into highlighting the unrighteousness of the Jews. He goes on, he lets them know that they too will face God's judgment. They aren't exempt. Looking at chapter 3, he continues on to point out that no one has been righteous and that all have sinned against him. All have been under sin. But the righteousness of God through faith is now upheld. He lets the Jews and the Gentiles know that they can only get to God's grace through faith. As we move into chapter 4, Paul then reminds the church of Rome how Abraham also went through the same thing, how Abraham was justified by faith. And so he gives them a real life picture, a clear understanding of what it looks like to be in the situation that they're in, but then turn away from their own understanding and lean onto God. In chapter 5, Paul reminds the church that there is hope. And there is hope. And we saw that through Christ's resurrection on Calvary, that they will be saved from God's wrath on Judgment Day because of the sacrifice that Christ made for each and every one of us. If we look at chapter 5, verses 6 through 8, it says this: For while we were still helpless, at the right time, Christ died for the ungodly. For one will hardly die for a righteous man, though perhaps for the good man someone would dare even die. But God demonstrates his own love toward us, in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. No, death spread throughout the earth and across all men because of the sins of Adam. But Christ reversed those consequences. He took that away from us and gave us the free gift of eternal glory in heaven through his death, burial, and resurrection. And so today I want to really have us focus on the death, the burial, and the resurrection, and how it still continues to drive us each and every day throughout our lives. Not just on Easter Sunday, but every single day that we wake up, we must take up our cross and follow Jesus Christ. Christ. And so I asked the question, why does Christ's blood matter? And so I've got two main ideas that I want us to focus on, and my 4 points will follow these throughout. But if I had to answer the question, one answer would be for eternal life. You know, eternal life depended upon the death and the resurrection, not just one. When we think about that future salvation, we think about how if we put our faith in Christ, we will live forever in heaven because Jesus died. He died to pay the price for our sins. I want you to really just think about that. I mean, how many of you, it says in Romans, in chapter 5, that, you know, it said that he died for the ungodly man. And most people wouldn't pay, you know, they might think about it. If you got somebody out there who is doing the right thing, who's a righteous person, I might just put my life on the line. I might do it. But God said, even those who sin against me, I will die for them. And he did it for each and every one of us. And so that's the power of Christ. And so we make that one moment decision to put our faith in him and understanding that gospel, that Jesus Christ died, he was buried, and he rose again on the third day. We make that one decision and we're changed eternally. And so that's one reason for eternal life. If I had to look at a second reason, it would also be because of that daily growth that is to come with that internal change that takes place within us. That daily growth, too, depends upon the death and the resurrection. When we talk about that present sanctification, we have the power to continue to grow in holiness because Christ died to conquer sin and he rose again to empower new life. No longer do we have to live in the old body, the old flesh, those old sinly ways of our human nature because of the resurrection. But with that comes an action. We have to continue daily to make these lifetime decisions. We make that one decision to follow Jesus Christ for eternal life, and we continue daily that growth by making those decisions to follow him. And so we're going to look at Romans chapter 6, verses 1 through 14. And my first point lets us know that Christ's blood enables us to live a transformed life, not the life that we've been living in up to this point. And so Paul begins right there at that one moment, that one decision where a believer decides, okay, I'm going to take up my cross and I'm going to follow Jesus. But there may come some opposition. People are trying to figure it out. And here it says, what shall we say then in verse 1? Are we to continue in sin so that grace may increase? And Paul says, may it never be. That is not the case. I can imagine Paul being frustrated right now in the moment, like, did you not just hear what I just said? No, that's not how you are to live your lives. It's almost like that favorite pair of jeans. If we go on, it says, how shall we who died to sin still live in it? Anybody ever have like that favorite pair of jeans that at one point were so fitting, but now they begin to look like high waters? Why would you continue to wear those knowing that you've been removed? And we've been removed from sin through Christ Jesus. God's grace doesn't give us the freedom to sin. It actually calls us from sin, that we don't have to any longer live in the sin that we've lived in. You know, I remember being in middle school and I had a teacher who used to give us these homework passes. And with these homework passes, you could use it on any given day as a free get out of homework pass. And so I would in my mind plan, like, okay, where's the biggest, most challenging assignment that I don't want to do, and I'm going to use it that day. God's not saying that we can use him in that way. We know that we're going to sin against him, but we can call on him for forgiveness. That's not what he's asking us to do. He's not giving us that free pass. But sometimes I'm a little concerned. I'm concerned that when we make that one decision to follow Jesus Christ, that many times we get stuck, or we get complacent, and we get comfortable where we are, and we don't continue that daily growth that is necessary to follow Jesus Christ. While that fire seems to burn for a while, you know, we may think to ourselves, you know what, God knows my heart. He knows where I really am. He knows how I really feel, but we've got to do something. I had coaches that told me my entire life, just find a way to get a little bit better each day, and Christ is asking us to do the same. Find something to get a little bit better at, so that when people see us, they see Him. When they hear our voices, they hear the Word of God. And so we've got to find ways to get just a tad bit better at the things that we do every day. You know, it says that we are spiritually baptized or united with the power of Christ's death and resurrection. You know, when we think about baptism, you know, you make this outward expression, or it's this symbolic message that says that I am no longer the person of old, but I am now a follower of Jesus Christ. And so that is a way for us to show the church, the body of Christ, that we have now turned away and are moving in a different direction. But the baptism is not the answer. There is more that comes with that. It's like my wedding ring. My wedding ring here represents marriage. It's not my marriage. I wish it were that easy. But it's not. There's work that continues to come with it. And so when we think about what Christ did on Calvary, what He did on that Sunday, when He rose again, He gave us an opportunity to walk a new life on Monday. And so Christ's blood enables us to live that transformed life. But as we move on, we see that Christ's blood gives us power over sin. It says, knowing this, that our old self was crucified with Him, in order that our body of sin might be done away with, so that we are no longer to be slaves to sin. For he who has died is freed from sin. Now, the inabilities of our old self, who you were before, has been deactivated. That old person is no longer, those old ways don't exist anymore. You are not held captive to those things any longer. I remember my first AOL email account, where it held everything for me, so much that when I tried to get back into my YSU account recently, I was locked out, deactivated forever, and did not have access. And so I still can't get into my YSU email account. But I say that because God did the same thing for us. He deactivated those old sinful ways and took us out of that so that we could continue to live in Him. When you were living in sin, it may have felt like there was no way out, and this was the only way to live life, and you were stuck. And you found yourself daily sitting in those moments, knowing that what you're doing is wrong, but you continue on anyway because you don't know a way out. Well, God has made a way out through His Son, Jesus Christ. Christ has given us the power to unplug those temptations, to lean on Him and not onto our own understanding. Now, sin does have power, but does it have the power of our God? Christ not only took on the penalty of sin for us, He defeated the power of sin over us. No longer do we have to be slaves to our old ways. Now, if we die with Christ, we believe that we shall also live with Him. Verse 9, knowing that Christ has been raised from the dead, is never to die again. Death no longer is master over Him. In verse 10, for the death that He died to sin once for all, but the life He lives to God. When the body physically dies, I mean, when you think about when a human body goes into the grave, it can no longer sin. And we are in the same situation. Christ has given us the power to experience that same freedom, but you have to believe it. If you say that your faith is in Jesus Christ, if you've made that one decision to follow Him, then you must believe that He's giving you that power over sin. Sin can no longer conquer you. So since Christ defeated sin once for all and He rose again, now it says that He lives for God's glory. And again, we are linked to both the death, the burial, and the resurrection. And so we continue to ask, then, why does Christ's blood matter every day? Well, we saw that it enables us to live a transformed life. Christ's blood gives us the power over sin, but now Christ's blood, as we move into verse 11, urges us to act in obedience. As we look at verses 1 through 10, Paul didn't give us clear instruction on what we're supposed to do. He's kind of giving us this big idea, these pictures of what it could look like. But now as we move into verse 11, he gives us direct command or instructions on what we are to do as we pick up our cross daily to follow Jesus Christ. Well, one of the first things we have to do is we must believe what is true. It says, even so, consider yourselves to be dead to sin, but alive to God in Christ Jesus. Do you believe it? Do you really believe that you are dead to sin? Because if you do, sin cannot hold you. Sin has power, but no power like our God. You know, when I first came to Christ, I remember sitting in church and just watching. Just kind of looking around and trying to figure out, how did you get to that point? How did you figure it out? And I want to get there. But all it takes is the belief and the commitment to follow Jesus Christ.